Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at gcnlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked. Here we go. Your dial set correctly to USAPrepares.com. We're delighted you're here, broadcasting 2 hours from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains. We have a call-in line if you'd like to chat with us. 866-582-9933. 866-582-9933. We'll pay for the call. There's a link to all of your instructors on the website, USAPREPARES.com. Converging threats are confronted daily by your instructors. I'm Vincent Finelli. And for those of you new to the class, there are about 200 of us here at USAPrepares.com. Experts in various areas. All of us are innovators. We're medical doctors, dentists, engineers, surgeons, CEOs, broadcasters, authors, researchers, physicists, farmers, inventors, and students rising to become instructors. I'm delighted to introduce to you your newest instructor, Shayne Morris. She is a corporate anthropologist and, like most of us here at USAPrepares.com, is not capable of holding down a job. Welcome, Shayne Morris.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
And your website is democracythemepark.org. And it's highlighted on page 1 at USA Prepares. And also, there's a link to Shayne Morris on the website. Shayne Morris, a couple of decades ago, where I lived on a farm, there were a few things that happened that I didn't like. And these things were done with what I believe were the blessings, approvals, and bribes of our government. All of them were threats to me and my family. And I reacted to each one of these three things. A cell tower was constructed across the road from our farm. One of our neighbors had property, and he wasn't using it, and it was a little bit higher than our farm, and he decided to sell out to a cell phone company, and they put this transmitter up, and it was about a quarter of a mile from our house, just across the road. And it angered me. Like, how would he do that? How would he let us be microwaved by the cell tower? Another one was a for-profit prison was approved for construction diagonally across the road from our farm. A for-profit prison. 350 inmates in a town of 500 people. And another one was a dump was approved. A 5-state dump was approved for construction near our farm. I was outraged at all of these. And because I was outraged, people gravitated toward us, and we decided we were going to resist the prison and the dump. Shots were fired at our farmhouse. And when you heard me start this broadcast saying, everyone all set, cocked, locked, well, I am. And I have been ever since shots were fired at our house a couple decades ago. And Shayne Morris, I heard the words by our government minions. Well, Vincent, you just don't want it in your backyard. And to that I responded, you're exactly right. Shayne Morris, let's talk about Let's talk about the NIMBY response, not in my backyard response. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's important that, first of all, if you don't want it in your backyard, you ask yourself why, and it's usually something like, I think this is harmful to myself, my family, my community, and perhaps future generations as well. So it's not something you should be ashamed of. In fact, you should convert more people to being willing to say it. And I also think that basically everyone is a NIMBY, but some are stealth NIMBYs and they won't admit it. And they may have the power to see that it gets put in someone else's backyard, but they also don't want it in theirs. So potentially we are all NIMBYs, and if it shouldn't go in my backyard, it probably shouldn't go in someone else's backyard. So you shouldn't allow yourself, and I can tell you haven't, Vince, to be ashamed at saying, no, this facility or this project is not appropriate in my backyard. So the first thing is to get a positive attitude toward it, and don't let people scare you into not admitting that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what happened. In every case, there were neighbors that said, I'm with you. I'm behind you. I'm behind you 100%, 110%, whatever that is. I can't imagine something being more than 100%, but they would say things like that. And as time went on, as the fights became more vigorous, the outrage became more widespread initially. Soon after that, those friends and neighbors and those fighting against the dump, against the prison, kind of fell by the wayside. And after a while, I looked around and I said, I know you guys are behind me. You're so far behind me, I can't even see you. As a matter of fact, it looks like it's just me. And it was just me. Everyone had been threatened. Their jobs had been threatened. It's like in a rural community, one of the highest paying jobs is working for the government, like being a teacher or being a keyboard warrior, for the government, entering data about people. And their jobs were threatened. The teachers were told, your contract's coming up for renewal and you'll have to look at it. And by the way, are you involved in this, with this group that's against what the county wants? Is that what you're doing? And pretty soon it was just me. And I was so angry. We stopped both of these things. We stopped the dump. We stopped the prison. But it was at great personal expense to my family. And I was so angry that when I left Virginia, I said, well, I don't want to say what I said. But it was basically, you deserve what you get. Because you're all a bunch of pansies. Now, there were just a few government minions, like 7 or 8, that were for this. We could have run them over. We could have run them out of town. We could have camped out around their house. We could have made their life miserable. But most of the people were too afraid to do that. They were so afraid of losing their job that they would sell out the county, sell out the town, allow a prison to be put in a town of 500 people. How serious is that? Well, I said, I was not a radio broadcaster back then, but I went on the radio. My knees were knocking. And I said, oh, so when someone says, where do you live? And you name this town, they'll say, oh, yeah. That's the town where the prison is, right? How would you like that? How'd you like to be known for the town with the prison as the centerpiece? Not in my backyard. And we literally fought it. And we kicked him out. And we kicked the dump out, too. And what happened, Jane and Morris, when we kicked the dump out, a county down the road got it. And they hate it. They absolutely hate it. And we were only one of 2 counties that successfully kicked out Allied Waste. Just 2 of us did it. 2 counties. Everyone else got the dumps. So, what's the plan? How do we become successful activists in your mind? What do we do when we are threatened, with these dangerous for-profit blights?
Okay, well, first, since you brought up intimidation, yes, it's unfortunately very frequently part of it. It can be physical intimidation, financial, reputation. It can even be lawsuits. And so whoever is fighting against the project needs to be aware of that and have talked about it ahead of time. I can mention two things really quickly that may help in that case. First of all, if there's only one of you, then they certainly know who to intimidate. But the more of you there are and the more you share all the work and the burdens, then it's not so clear. I mean, they can't try to intimidate and call everybody in the town or the community. So one thing is to try to avoid having there be just one or just a couple people, because the larger the group, the more difficult it is to really intimidate all of them. And just another thing real quick is that it's always good in those cases to, unfortunately, if intimidation has occurred, to document it and to tell people about it so that you're not just alone there wondering if you're going to hear another shot or hear another threat at your job. And just say, we're very sad to report that we have received this kind of threat or this kind of other form of intimidation. And if you can kind of calmly get that out there on the air and let others know, that may encourage people to understand that there's something rotten in the state of Denmark and that they should probably join you against this, illegitimate use of threats. And, but you asked also, what can we do? I can rattle off a few of the most important things at the beginning, just so you're in a better position. One of them is you need to know that they're way ahead of you. They've been working on this for years. They've been gaining support in the community. They've been whining and dining important people in the community. So they're way ahead, and you might as well know that. Second thing is, don't necessarily expect help from the government. In fact, the government may be the ones who are supporting the project, or big national groups. You might, and sometimes one does, get help from certain parts of the government, since different parts of the government don't always agree. And you might get help from big national groups, so keep that in mind, but don't depend on it. And the third thing is, the more you know about what they're going to do, the better position you're going to be in. So the reason I wrote this book was to tell you ahead of time what they're going to be doing.
Jane Ann Morris, hold that thought, and you can tell us more about the book when we come back right after these few short commercial announcements. Jane Ann Morris, corporate anthropologist, democracythemepark.org. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
That's the sound your brain makes when you realize you're buying something and forgot the coupon. Online or in a store, knowing that you're missing a deal is the worst. You need the app from Retail Me Not right now. Get thousands of coupons from 50,000 stores like Kohl's, Domino's, Best Buy, and more with crazy deals like 60% off, free shipping, and free gifts with purchase. You can get a text invite to download the Retail Me Not app 100% free right now for Apple or Android. Just text the code UPDATE to 42767. Then just show your phone at checkout to save. It literally couldn't be easier. It's 2015. Keep your coupons in your phone if you're doing, and text UPDATE to 42767. Listeners will get a text with a link to download it 100% free. Never forget another coupon again. Text the code UPDATE to 42767 right now. That's Update to 42767. Message and data rates may apply. For terms and privacy, visit retailmenot.com.
The human body is more than 60% water. Your brain and muscles are 75% water. And your blood is 92% water. Water's vital to your body, and alkalizing your water is the key to keep it running at its best. AlkaVision Plasma pH drops keep your entire body healthy, boosts energy, promotes weight loss, and even fights cancer. Call 800-518-7615 or go to alkavision.com to find out more. That's alkavision.com.
Did you know that drinking pure, high alkaline water is one of the most important factors in maintaining high energy and vibrant health? Most experts agree that the water you drink should be at a pH level of 8 or higher. AlkaVision Plasma pH drops, available only at alkavision.com, combine a unique formula of only the most alkaline minerals. AlkaVision Plasma pH drops alkalize your water, ridding the body of harmful toxins, and helps you regain health and energy. Alkalizing your water by simply adding 10 drops of AlkaVision Plasma pH drops helps the body rid itself of acidic waste, increases oxygen content, and raises the pH of your body to healthy levels. And bacteria and viruses cannot survive in an alkaline high pH environment. Order your bottle of AlkaVision Plasma pH drops for only $29.95 at alkavision.com. That's ALKAvision.com. Or call 269-409-1776. 269-409-1776. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com today.
Okay, open your mouth and say ah.
Getting a good view of a sore throat can be difficult, but the new doctor-recommended sore throat exam kit from SayAhNow.com makes it easy. A first-of-its-kind scientifically designed oral retractor to relax the tongue, minimize gag reflex, and increase visibility. Our Made in the USA kit also includes a medical-grade reference chart, easy-to-use website and app so that you're one click away from unparalleled sore throat information. Click SayAhNow.com. SayAhNow.com, a must-have for your family's medical preparedness.
Jane Ann Morris is with us, and we're talking about activism and how to do a better job at it. democracythemepark.org. Link on page 1, usaprepares.com. Jane Ann Morris, you were telling us about your book. Could you please continue?
Yes. I wrote this book because I was involved in a long fight against lignite strip mining and power plants, and lignite is something between peat and coal. It's not even a coal. It had a heating value about the same as bad cow patties, and they were going to dig it in seams that were only 4 to 6 feet thick and wreck huge amounts of land and so on. So I ended up fighting that for about 7 years, and at the end of the time, I wanted to write a book about everything I knew at the end that I didn't know at the beginning. And so I wrote this book as a handbook for normal, regular people, not activists flying into a town to spend 2 months there and then flying out again. And we really learned a lot in that time, and I think if people knew what's in that book, they would have a better chance. The chances aren't great in many of these cases that you'll be able to successfully oppose a project because, unfortunately, even if the project is proposed by a private company of some kind, it probably has substantial backing from the government, especially the local and state government. So I think you've been applying all along. One of the things we have to do is take back the government, especially local governments. And you can start that by clearly exposing what they're doing. Let people know they did this, that, and the other. This council has approved this law, and so on. And in some cases, it involves changing a law. Like, why can't a local government say, we, the local government, with pressure from the citizens, do not want this facility here, period? Well, one of the reasons is that there are, in fact, state and national laws which strongly limit the control that local governments can exert over their own communities. And that's a target ultimately in the sort of prevention area. Another thing you should know if you're in a NIMBY situation is that, you know, people might agree with you that, well, they don't think that putting a so-and-so in is a great idea, but often they won't listen any further unless you can give them an alternative. For example, if the facility shouldn't go there, should it go somewhere else? Maybe it should go nowhere. If it shouldn't go anywhere, what should you do instead? Or what is an appropriate use for that land or that parcel that would in fact benefit the community and not harm the current community or future generations. So I think it's, even though you may end up spending a lot of your time talking about what's wrong with what they want to do, you'll gain a lot of credibility if you can start proposing some alternatives. And one of them is there are ways of taking land out of circulation, either by making it giving it some sort of historic status, or putting it into some sort of conservancy, or passing a law to say, this land is reserved for future generations to protect this or that. In other words, to put up additional obstacles in the way of any company or government agency or combination of the two that may want to come in and do something that's harmful to your community.
Jane Ann Morris, what did you find to be the most effective use of your time when you wanted to stop these threats to your community, to your village, I should say?
Well, since from the get-go, most of the institutions were sort of already in favor of it because they'd been talked to over a long period of time, perhaps, given incentives of various kinds. So we didn't have the option. We could no longer convince the big shots because they were already sort of wrapped up. So we just started talking to regular people. Anyone you meet on the street, anyone you meet through a church, anyone you meet through a community organization, at a restaurant, whatnot. And realize that most people, if you get to talk to them and they're not in a stressed situation, they will listen and they probably share a lot of your concerns. And what happened was that since the people who were setting up the project didn't think we would do that and didn't think we had our act together, they didn't see us coming. So even though they started out way ahead, we just slowly, little by little, one at a time, 10 at a time, talked to everyone we possibly could, and eventually kind of got a critical mass of people. And in fact, in part of the project I'm talking about, we won an election 60-40 against two bond issues, which totaled close to $600 million. We won that by a 60-40 margin while being outspent 9-1 because we talked to every single person we ran into.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
KDArmor.com is your one-stop shop for the most affordable body armor, period. With packages starting at $169.99 and free shipping on every order. KD offers soft armor and rifle threat rated armor up to level 4. Go to KDArmor.com and get your body armor today while you still can. Mention this ad and receive a free tactical scarf for a limited time with any body armor package. That's CATIarmor.com. Come and take it.
As if chlorine in our water weren't bad enough, now they're adding ammonia?
It's true. Some municipalities are now adding ammonia plus chlorine to your water supply. It's a disinfectant called chloramine. But with a trusted Big Berkey water filter, you can keep chloramine out of your water. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show EPA Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market. The gold standard in water purification. And our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Gold. It's like nothing else on Earth. From the Romans through the Renaissance, from the Industrial Age to the Space Age, gold has weathered the test of time. For 6,000 years, gold has remained the ultimate store of wealth. According to the World Gold Council and the U.S. Mint, demand is at an all-time high. The stage is being set for the reemergence of gold as the common-sense alternative to a fiat paper currency that gets weaker every day. Midas Resources is proud to offer the hard-hitting report that arms you with the truth you need to protect you and your family from the Fed's plans for your hard-earned money. Don't gamble with your future. Call Midas Resources today and ask for your free copy of As Good as Gold. Call 1-800-686-2237 for the report the Fed hopes you'll never see. As Good as Gold can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. If you have ever thought about owning gold, you must read this report. Call Midas today at 800-686-2237.
Okay, open your mouth and say ah.
Getting a good view of a sore throat can be difficult, but the new doctor-recommended sore throat exam kit from SayAhNow.com makes it easy. A first-of-its-kind scientifically designed oral retractor to relax the tongue, minimize gag reflex, and increase visibility. Our Made in the USA kit also includes a medical-grade reference chart, easy-to-use website, and apps so that you're one click away from unparalleled sore throat information. Click SayAhNow.com. SayAhNow.com, a must-have for your family's medical preparedness.
Hi, this is Walt Augustinowicz. I'm the founder and CEO of ID Stronghold. By now you've heard our commercials about wallets that protect you from electronic pickpocketing. 10 years ago, I created a way to protect my own cards from prying eyes after government officials started talking about issuing a national ID card with a built-in radio chip called RFID. I felt having to broadcast my personal information was an invasion of privacy. Soon after, it was also announced that credit cards, debit cards, U.S. passports, hotel room keys, and even transit passes would all soon incorporate RFID. It was then I formed ID Stronghold to share my inventions in blocking RFID signals with the world. There are a lot of misconceptions out there today about RFID. I encourage everyone to get informed and get protected. Please go to idstronghold.com and get the facts and the wallet, sleeves, or badge holders you need to protect your personal financial data. You'll be pleasantly surprised that through our direct sales model, you won't pay more than other comparable unprotected wallets. It is as though the protection is free. Visit idstronghold.com today.
We're talking about activism, and we're talking about defending our way of life from invasions by corporations working with the government. And Jane Ann Morris, you mentioned a book. Is that book available right now?
The book is not in my backyard, the handbook, and it is available, but usually I would advise people to buy it from the author. You can't from me. I don't have any more copies, nor does the publisher. So it's technically out of print, but if you know how to use the internet, you can get copies of it. I may be working on revising it and putting out an updated version, but right now you have to go to the internet and get it that way.
Okay, and what's it called?
Not in My Backyard, the Handbook. The title actually says what it is. I think that's a good idea in a book.
Jane Ann, I can tell you that in these fights that I've had in the Commonwealth of Virginia, they were, up until that point, the largest fights I've ever been involved in. And literally, it takes a lot out of you. It becomes all-consuming. It becomes a mission, and it's war. It's literally war. And those who are trying to make it happen, let's say the corporations, and it's been corporate funded, working with the local governments to bribe these supposedly elected representatives. I believe they've been bribed. I believe they have their own reasons, and greed enters into the equation in a large way. So what we did was in the beginning, we did what most groups seem to do. We write letters to the editor. We wrote articles. We placed newspaper ads. We placed a full-page newspaper ad explaining what was going on. I went on the radio to talk about it, on a local morning news program. We signed petitions. We had county meetings. We had town meetings. We even had TV coverage. Nothing worked. Nothing. Until we figured two things to try. One of them, and they involved singling out these county thugs that were in favor of it, the people we believe were bribed by these corporations. What we did was these guys were praise the Lord types, churchgoers, village members, talking about the government types. And we would point to them in church, not just point to them for a second, point to them and hold our hands and say, that's her. That's his wife. That's him. Those two over there, those are his children. That's them over there. And be very, very obvious about pointing them out and continue to point at them when they saw and not be shy about it. And then stopping in front of their house, right in front of their door, on the road, stopping, rolling down the window and pointing at their front door for a few minutes. That's their house. That's their door. That's where they live. Pointing. Made them feel uncomfortable in the supermarket, the grocery store, wherever we saw them. We pointed them out. Their wives, their children, and them. And we made them feel really uncomfortable. And then we sent them letters. And the letters were very simple. It was a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, plain piece of white paper, handwritten, folded in 3 into the size of a number 10 envelope. And it was addressed to, one of the guys' name was R.B. Clark. And it was addressed to R.B. Dump Clark at his home address, as his official government address. On the inside, it said nothing. On the back of the envelope, which was really just a piece of paper, it said, "You're fired," in large print. None of it was computer generated. All of it was handwritten. On the front, it had no return address, and it only contained one stamp. They were mailed from all over the county. They were sent to all of the county representatives. All of them got one. Hundreds of them. 2 weeks later, the county decided that it was not in the best interest of the county to pursue this dump. And it was over, very quietly. But the only thing that worked was singling out these thugs who worked for the government. And by the time we were done with them, only 2 of them remained in office. The rest of them were thrown out. It worked. Now, you may think that it takes a whole bunch of people to do this. Well, we started out with a whole bunch of people. But I submit to you, it only takes one person to write hundreds of pieces of paper with names, and you're fired on the back. It only takes one person to do it. But the appearance is, it takes a lot. And believe it or not, that's how we did it. By pointing them out, by letting them feel so uncomfortable in their own community or their own village that they couldn't stand it. And it actually worked. What do you think?
Well, I like the fact that you're essentially pointing to the idea that we can't allow government officials who are working against the interest of community, we can't allow them anonymity. We can't allow them to hide in their offices or pretend like they're not the ones doing things. It's essentially a way of telling them they need to be accountable, and the citizenship expects them not just to sit up there and collect a salary and sign papers, but to actually address the needs of the community. And there are a lot of different ways of doing it, and if it works, do it. But I want to point out something else, which is that took care of your immediate problem in the short term. You dodged that bullet, so to speak. And hopefully some memory of that would linger so you wouldn't have to do it again soon. But that might not work long term, because you just might get another set of people in there who are as unresponsive to the needs of their community, who would go right ahead and favor the next project that's not in the interest of the good long-term existence of your community. So I think it's great to win something short-term, and we did, but at some point it's going to be necessary to think long-term and think why it is and how it is that these people keep getting in there and working essentially for the interest of a few instead of for the interest of what the whole community is trying to tell them. And part of the long term, unfortunately, I think, is that there are laws written into the federal, the state, and the local level that essentially limit a local community's ability to protect itself. And as long as those are there, there's going to be the possibility of the next project around the corner coming at you. So I think those need to be addressed. For example, most local communities, whether they're towns or cities in this, or counties, and this varies in different states, are specifically prohibited by the laws in their state of doing anything unless the state gives them permission to do so. And that sort of gives the state level the ability to preempt decisions that a local government makes. And so in that case, even if you have good people in your local government, they may be limited by laws on the books which need to go, which say you can only do these things. Like you can set the speed limit and decide when the bars close, but as far as saying we don't want a toxic waste dump here, you can't do that.
One of the things that we tried to do was find out who was involved in the land transfer for this dump. And what these thugs did was they ripped the page out of the deed book at the courthouse. So we don't know who was involved. Well, I'm sure the recorder of deeds knew, but they weren't talking. So what we found out, or what we believe we found out, was that there were bribes at the highest level of our county government. There were payoffs involved. And it seemed that there was this newfound wealth among the county, we'll call them elected representatives, which they weren't representing our interests. But it seemed like they had more money than they used to have. And that the land transferred for multiple times its, at the time, value. The land for the dump. The best thing I think that we can do from my experience, and I've only been involved in a couple of these, 2 of them, is to shun these traitors to the village. Shun them. Make them feel uncomfortable. And just because they go to church doesn't mean anything in my book. It means nothing. What they say, and what they do, in my opinion, have been 2 different things. They praise the Lord, and they cheat everybody around them. It's outrageous. So what we did was we shunned them. We made them feel so uncomfortable. We made their children feel uncomfortable. So these government thugs who were on the government payroll, when they came home, their wives beat them up. Like, have you lost your mind? Everybody hates us. Why are you doing this? Daddy, nobody likes me at school anymore. Everybody hates me. What are you doing? Everybody's talking about you, Daddy. What have you done? That's what it takes. It takes exposing them, and it takes having their family turn into chaos. That's what it takes. And many of these families are dysfunctional. One of these thugs that I was talking about literally took a family member's house, put that family member in a nursing home, took over their house, stole their house. One of the nicest houses in the village. Stole it from the guy who worked for it, put him in a nursing home, and moved in. That's one of the participants in one of the experiences we had in Virginia. Jane and Morris and I will be right back, and let's talk about some of the tricks. Some of the tricks that these thugs use that we should be aware of and what we should do about them. We'll be right back. By now you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
Everyone says or does something silly once in a while, but once that embarrassing thing is on the internet, it can spread like a terrible rash. Put it to rest. Get a free expert analysis today from Reputation.com. It only takes 30 seconds. 800-831-0771. We protect your online image by helping to make sure that when people search for you or your business, they find the most current, accurate information possible. Reputation.com, because word travels fast. Call for a free analysis today. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771.
Healthy, organic, fresh fish, robust, mouth-watering vegetables, all from your home. It's called aquaponics. This brilliant, self-sustaining protein and veggie system is perfect for year-round growing. Know exactly where your food is coming from. Aquaponicssource.com is the one-stop shop for all your needs. Fish, fish food, plumbing, full systems, classes, and more. Learn to build your own system. Go to aquaponicssource.com for a free guide to aquaponics. That's aquaponicssource.com.
Sciatica, lower back pain, hip pain, poor posture. If you suffer from any of these problems, get ready to relax. Introducing an amazing product that's been in the market for over 25 years, the Sacro Wedgie. It was invented by a football coach using a common sense osteopath technique. He created this device to help his athletes by isolating and supporting the sacrum, which is the keystone of our anatomy. This wedge-shaped bone is in the center of our hips, where a lot of pain starts. Simply relax 20 minutes daily on the amazingly simple Sacro Wedgie and let gravity do the work, helping muscles rebalance and start releasing nerves. Sit in the Sacro Wedgie at the computer or while traveling to help correct posture to finally help relieve those stubborn aches and pains for only $33.95. It's made in the USA, so click the family-owned website at sacrowedgie.com, spelled SACROWEDGY.com, or call 1-800-737-9295. That's 1-800-737-9295. Relax your back pain away with the Sacro Wedgie.
You are an individual with your own thoughts, decisions, and actions. So why should you be penalized for not enrolling in the subpar health insurance mandated by the government? Be truly independent. Visit libertyoncall.org. Libertyoncall.org is a bold, innovative alternative allowing you to take back control and make your own decisions about your health care. Mention this ad when you call to learn more. 800-714-6993. That's 800-714-6993. libertyoncall.org. Call today.
Everyone says or does something silly once in a while. Even very smart, very accomplished people. It's part of being human. A quote taken out of context, a legal problem, an unfortunate photograph. Once that embarrassing thing is on the internet, it can spread like a terrible rash because people love to dig up dirt, even when it's not real dirt. Put it to rest. Call for a free expert analysis today from Reputation.com. It only takes 30 seconds. 800-831-0771. Businesses, public figures, and professionals turn to Reputation.com for good reason. We protect your online image by helping make sure that when people search for you or your business, they find the most current, accurate information possible. Reputation.com, because word travels fast. Learn more about what the experts at Reputation.com can do for you. Call for a free analysis today. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771.
Are you excited about the World Wide Web? Do you want a place where you can share your ideas and express yourself? Well, dial up your modems and stream on down to the GCN Live Community Forum. Lots of radical features await you there.
Wow, Internet guy, I am so glad I went to the GCN Live Community Forum.
You too can discover why the World Wide Web is awesome. Just go to gcnlive.com/forum. That's gcnlive.com/forum. I'll see you in cyberspace. Friend at GCN Live on Diaspora and Cross.tv.
And meet up on Monday at Jimmy's Egg. I'll be there. Sam the Trucker is going to be there, and he's going to talk about where he's been and what he's seen. Tunnels, below ground, the sights he's seen above ground. That's Monday at Jimmy's Egg, 4:45 to 8 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's absolutely free. If you want to join us for lunch, Jimmy's Egg, information is on the website. And Bunker Files today. We're going to try it again. And on Truth Frequency Radio from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock Central Time in the afternoon. Aaron Dakins and I will be hosting the Bunker Files with Doc Waterman as our instructor. He's going to be talking about the WebBot reports. Information will be on the website. Tom in Baltimore, you're on with Jane Ann Morris and me, Vin Finelli. Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Finelli and Miss Morrison. Thanks for taking my call. If I'm understanding correctly, again, correct me if I'm wrong here, Miss Morrison is a lawyer, an activist, and she has special skills in tactics and investigations in order to get things done within the governmental system. Do I have that correct?
I'm not a lawyer. I'm a corporate anthropologist, but I've obviously read a lot of law things and written about the law and regulations.
Okay. What exactly, if you can do it quickly, is a corporate anthropologist?
Okay, I took the techniques that anthropologists developed over 150 years to research so-called foreign cultures or people out there, and I took those techniques and those skills and applied them to studying and understanding and fighting against a quasi-public utility corporation. And I wrote a 900-page report on that and got a degree. So I'm a corporate anthropologist.
Fantastic. Sounds like a special tactic and skill to me. I'm a retired police detective, just so you know, and I employed some unusual techniques, completely legal, in order to get to the bottom of cases. And in fact, when I retired, I got involved with an issue here in Maryland, which handicapped people and other folks with disabilities had been fighting, I found out, for almost a century. It was really sad when I realized that these folks were just getting hammered and really getting nowhere. And what I did, and I know you know what you're talking about because you did something or you touted something to Mr. Finelli that I know works because it's what I did and what took them a century to not get done, I got done in less than 30 days. Literally, it's Senate Bill 928. If anybody wants to check me and see if I'm telling the truth, it passed by a veto-proof margin in 2004. And what I did was exactly what you advocate. I steamrolled the entire legislative body. I went in there. I knew I would only have X number of minutes with each person. So I got the book. Most states put out a book where they have the faces and who they are and who they represent. And I got my argument down to a very concise, quick 2-minute presentation. I was very friendly with everyone. And, at this rate, they're paid off. And so I don't have money, a retired cop. What currency did I have? Well, people are human. Even the worst of us have some human side. So I figured, you know what? I will appeal to the human side, and that will be my currency. And that's what I did. And that's what worked. And before they realized what was going on, in fact, when they were voting, people were starting to panic because that's when I realized who the ones that were paid off were. They were just having a fit. But I also made friends within the governor's office which I think is real important. I didn't want to make any enemies, even the ones who openly said, you know what, I'm not going to be able to support this piece of legislation. But by making friends, I was able to have an ear to the ground and know what they were doing before they did it. Can I wait till the break?
Tom? Well, I don't think we can do that because we've got Sam Bushman coming on for the next hour. But Tom, I want to thank you for your call. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're part of our class. Shayne and Morris, thank you so much for being with us today. We're talking about activism and how to be more successful at it. Jane Morris will be invited to come back again and again to teach us more about how to be successful in fighting the system, the oppression.
Well, thanks for having me, Vince.
You're so welcome. And coming up next hour, Sam Bushman. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
Did you know that select musical tones have the power to heal? By listening to 7 amazing songs that contain these tones, you can experience the power of music therapy.
I used to work in a pretty stressful atmosphere, but I started using the whole tones in the office, and I'm experiencing more focus, motivation, peace, and better relationships.
WholeTones99.com is a unique music therapy program featuring 7 secret ancient healing frequencies uncovered in the music of King David. Now you too can unlock the healing secrets of the Bible, as we are offering a free sample of this music so that you can discover their power to heal, relieve stress, and break negative cycles.
I use the tones to calm my 5, 3, and 2-year-olds to stop the fighting, and it works.
Now you can experience the healing music therapy in the comfort of your own home or office. Visit WholeTones99.com and get a free song. Visit WHOLETones99.com today for your free song. That's WholeTones99.com. WholeTones99.com.
Hey, Berkey Guy here. Are you still drinking unfiltered tap water? Does your water contain chlorine or fluoride? Will you have drinkable water in an emergency? The Berkey Guy is here to help you remove these and other potential contaminants from your water, thus helping you drink clean, purified water. We offer Berkey water purification systems at the lowest available prices online. Don't go another moment without Berkey system. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands drink clean, purified water. Join them by visiting goberkey.com or call me, the Berkey Guy, at 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653.
47-year-old female and had a heart attack in 2005. This is Alice from New Jersey. I still get angina, even with 4 stents. I was taking nitro 2 or 3 times a week. The very first day after taking Heart and Body Extract, the chest pain was gone. Now I don't wear a nitro patch.
Learn the secrets of an effective, natural, 100% organic nutritional supplement for a healthy heart and circulation at hbextract.com.
I was thinking about something our next instructor's children were told about me. Everyone all set, cocked, locked. Hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. Sam Bushman has joined us for this hour. And Sam, I can't believe you told your
Grandma,
children.
How are you?
You know, oh, geez, I can't believe you told your children I'm like a grandfather. How is that possible?
Well, hold on. That's not exactly right. They said to me, these are little kids that are 6 and 8 and 10 years old kind of stuff, and they said to me, you know,
who's your buddy Vincent? Because Vincent was coming to visit. And they're like, who is Vincent? Is he young? Or, what is he? Is he like, and they mentioned some people they knew or whatever. And I'm like, no, he's more like a grandpa.
Yeah, I got it.
So,
right.
We just had to tell it like it is. And that was a complimentary term. You don't say grandpa for somebody you don't like, do you?
That was a great way out of it.
Now, I had an epiphany, Vincent, that I hoped to share with you on your program. And, we talk about global warming and climate change, and John Moore and others, instructors on the program, talk about violent weather change, etc. And, the scientists say that, hey, global warming is real, although then scientists say they don't, or that it's not real. And then the hackers go in and release a bunch of emails saying the scientists know that it's all bogus. And then the more you say global warming doesn't exist, they say you're crazy in the head and the whole world's going to end because of climate change and we got to have government regulation. And everybody's familiar with all this. And eventually it backs into this idea that government's in control and they have carbon credits that Vincent's going to have to buy so that he can have his cows eventually. And the Kyoto treaties and the this and the that. And this has been a battle for literally several decades now. And they used to say that it was global warming, but now then, global cooling came and people wrote books about an ice age coming. And anyway, then they've changed their terms and they've manipulated this thing until the cows come home. However, then we say, well, golly, they got contrails or chemtrails going on and this is happening. And then we say, well, we got circumstantial evidence of all kinds of toxins that are creating disasters in the climate and problems. But yet we don't have evidence, hard evidence of this and that. And the government denies it. And when the We Are Change, people track people down and try to force them to talk about it. They refuse. Then we find out that there are undercover cloud seeding and weather manipulation programs for warfare. And we find out that, all these things are happening. And then, hey, people say there's chemtrails everywhere, but somebody else says you don't have any evidence. And then people say, well, the evidence is circumstantial and, et cetera. And we back into this debate and we seem to just continue with no answers. And the more we push, because we know something's wrong, the more they say we're conspiracy nuts. And so I've got a theory about all this that I think kind of makes sense and kind of, in my opinion, changes the game for discussion, Vincent.
Let's hear it.
So here's the theory. We believe that what they're doing is they're putting stuff up there in the sky, and the whole goal is to block the sun, to prevent global warming, and that those toxic chemicals are just wreaking havoc on the environment. And that it's an enemy doing this. It's maybe government in bed with military, who knows, to do it with private planes or, or even maybe the airlines' planes, we don't know. And we go down this line. We have no proof, so to speak, and they mock us, and then we say, you guys are just lying and covering it up and the battle rages. But I got a theory, an idea, and that says this. Global warming doesn't exist in a real sense unless you believe that when the sun comes up, it gets warmer, and when it goes down, it gets cooler, and that's the global warming. But here's the deal. What if, just what if, everything that we think is correct in terms of the problems and everything they say is correct in terms of what's happening. But what if it's all engineered and created in plain sight right before our very eyes, and we just haven't been able to put our fingers on how it's happening and what's going on and what we could actually do about it? What if that were really the case? And so that's what kind of evolved into my theory, and that is this. I don't believe they're trying to put stuff in the sky to block the sun at all. In fact, what they're probably doing is doing something to manipulate the environment to make the sun shine hotter. They're actually stripping the normal atmosphere in such a way as to interfere so that the sun burns hotter and hotter and hotter. And as they do that, you get greater windstorms, you get greater sun, you get radiation, you get all these things mixed together. And then, in 10 years, when you and I and others have missed the boat in terms of what the real discussion is, and they call us conspiracy theorists, they come back and scientifically, positively prove that, global warming is here. It did happen. Sam, Vincent, everybody else was wrong all along. Their conspiracies were bogus. And now we really do need to protect ourselves from this global warming that is indeed factual. What if they're creating this global warming intentionally and we're looking at all the wrong things, Vincent? And then furthermore, what if we are making it happen? What if we're participating in their scheme? Unknowingly, but really willing participants. We'll get to that in a second. What do you think? I think they're trying to make it hotter, not cooler.
Sam, there's no question in my mind that the weather is more violent. As a matter of fact, right after this broadcast, I'm going to try to figure out how the latest storm blew up our solar system, took it out, literally blew it up. We had some violent lightning right over the farm. That's a real problem. There's no question in my mind, and I've been talking about this for months now, that, well, the sun's rays, if I'm in the truck and I have my arm on the armrest on the door of the truck, and the sun is landing on my left arm, it's drilling right through my skin. It's painful. It's like billions of little needles drilling into my skin. I've mentioned that over the last couple of weeks, I've been outside for a few minutes, and I've come back in the house and told Mrs. Finelli, I can't take it. I cannot stay outside any longer because I'm dripping with perspiration after just 10 minutes in 86-degree weather. So 86-degree temperatures does not make one perspire. It shouldn't be that
hot, but the sun's drilling down. So what if what's happening is we are creating a situation where we are literally dissolving the normal makeup of the atmosphere, and that the lightning, the sun, the wind, it doesn't have its normal makeup. It doesn't have its normal behavior, and so we do have global warming. In 10 years, they could definitively prove it. They could say, you deniers are nuts. And what if we participated in creating the very thing we claim isn't happening? But it is happening, not by natural, but yes, by man-made, but not by you and I living our lives, Vincent, like they want to blame it on, but really their chemical manipulation intention. We've got literally thousands. I can't remember the last study that I've read. There's literally close to hundreds of thousands of chemicals in our water, in our environment, in our food, in our products, in our plastics, and it goes on and on and on and on. And what if literally all these plastics, all these manipulated man-made chemicals were being spewed into the air, spewed into the water, spewed into the earth and the ground from every avenue possible that we could imagine, from our lifestyles, our day-to-day living? And what if that is creating, one, toxins that actually do go up into the sky and into the water and into the ground, and just our day-to-day living without realizing it? The chemical compounds by these transnational corporations are truly being extruded from everything we do to create the very environment we claim is not happening.
Well, Sam, we know that is true. For example, I can just name two very common additives and chemicals. One is a Freon, a refrigerant, Freon 12. We used to use Freon 12. It was great. It was a wonderful refrigerant for automobiles. It was very efficient. It took less horsepower to cool down our cars. Inexpensive, very inexpensive. I mean, you could buy it in a can for 79 cents in a can, ready to install into your automobile refrigeration system. Okay, so that's Freon 12, and that allegedly damaged the ozone layer. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing that we spewed into, and by the way, if we know that these chemicals are damaging to our environment, how is it possible that we would say, well, we have to recover them. If your air conditioning system needs to be worked on, we need to evacuate that and capture that refrigerant, that Freon. Well, almost every single refrigeration system that uses rubber hoses, like automobiles, they all leak. They all have seals and they all leak. And those refrigerators that we throw away that get crushed, that Freon goes into the air. So all the Freon that we put into these refrigeration systems has the potential to leak out. And probably most of it has. Okay. So that's one thing. Another thing that we've put into the environment is tetraethyl lead. So we found out that as we increase the compression ratio of gasoline powered vehicles, and and gasoline-powered equipment, it would tend to knock or ping as the compression ratios increased, as the gasoline engines became more efficient, created more horsepower per cubic inch of displacement. Well, just by adding tetraethyl lead to the gasoline, we could reduce that pinging, that knocking, and we used to call that high octane, high test, extra. And super, right. Those gasolines were spewing out tetraethyl lead as the vehicles drove down the highway. And cities were polluted, and we found out that young children had become poisoned by the exhaust fumes of vehicles. So those are just two ways that we have.
A third example is we've seen stories too where fish are becoming transgender fish. In other words, they're half male and half female, physiologically speaking. And that's happening too due to the manipulative chemicals in our environment.
Yeah, and so and we have this new, I don't even know what, plague of transgender people that can't figure out if they're male or female as well. Just look at Bruce. Sam Bushman, I'll be right back. By now you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system, because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration system and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPrepares.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
That's the sound your brain makes when you realize you're buying something and forgot the coupon. Online or in a store, knowing that you're missing a deal is the worst. You need the app from Retail Me Not right now. Get thousands of coupons from 50,000 stores like Kohl's, Domino's, Best Buy, and more with crazy deals like 60% off, free shipping, and free gifts with purchase. You can get a text invite to download the Retail Me Not app 100% free right now for Apple or Android. Just text the code UPDATE to 42767. Then just show your phone at checkout to save. It literally couldn't be easier. It's 2015. Keep your coupons in your phone. Stop what you're doing and text UPDATE to 42767. Listeners will get a text with a link to download it 100% free. Never forget another coupon again. Text the code UPDATE to 42767 right now. That's UPDATE to 42767. Message and data rates may apply. For terms and privacy, visit retailmenot.com.
Are you excited about the World Wide Web? Do you want a place where you can share your ideas and express yourself? Well, dial up your modems and stream on down to the GCN Live Community Forum. Lots of radical features await you there.
Wow, Internet guy, I am so glad I went to the GCN Live Community Forum.
You too can discover why the World Wide Web is awesome. Just go to gcnlive.com/forum. That's gcnlive.com/forum. I'll see you in cyberspace. Friend GCN Live on Diaspora and Cross.tv.
Everyone says or does something silly once in a while. Even very smart, very accomplished people. It's part of being human. A quote taken out of context, a legal problem, an unfortunate photograph. Once that embarrassing thing is on the internet, it can spread like a terrible rash because people love to dig up dirt, even when it's not real dirt. Put it to rest. Call for a free expert analysis today from Reputation.com. It only takes 30 seconds. 800-831-0771. Businesses, public figures, and professionals turn to Reputation.com for good reason. We protect your online image by helping make sure that when people search for you or your business, they find the most current, accurate information possible. Reputation.com, because word travels fast. Learn more about what the experts at Reputation.com can do for you. Call for a free analysis today. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to produce an endless supply of nano-sized silver solutions right from the convenience of your home. Silver Lungs. With the addition of our unique lung delivery system, respiratory infections are targeted directly, where traditional oral administration simply cannot reach. This pioneering method also preserves the original particle sizes and delivers your silver solution directly into the bloodstream. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
Class Sam Bushman's with us, and we're talking about his theory, that we, the villagers, are unknowingly and sometimes unwilling participants of the manipulation of the weather. I think he's got something here. And we talked about how we've already been involved in it with polluting the air with freon. And
just think how they would love to run around, Vincent, and tell it. They would love to run around and tell us, your conspiracy idea that we're messing with the environment isn't true, etc. And then what if we find out that, hey, they did it a completely different way? In fact, they got rid of freon. They gave you and they said, hey, the problem with freon is it'll ruin the environment. It'll ruin the atmosphere, right? It'll create an ozone problem. It'll just poke a hole in the ozone layer there, and it'll just be crazy. But what if they actually moved us to something that actually was worse, that did more of that, intentionally so, to create the very scenario we claim doesn't exist, which is global warming, right?
All right. Let's add to that, Sam. When we used to have diesel engines that would emit black smoke, and gasoline engines without these catalytic converters, and we'd smell these gasoline engines and we say, boy, that really stinks. I don't want to be in traffic behind those guys. What they do is they put catalytic converters on the gasoline engines. And what that did was it took the large particles that would be emitted from the tailpipes, the exhaust systems of these gasoline-powered vehicles, and it made them very tiny. So instead of these particles falling down quickly, like within an hour or two,
and being
or
spread
three,
out,
what happened was they would stay aloft, airborne, for weeks, possibly even months. So instead of falling down to the ground, they stay afloat. Now let's talk about.
And since they're tiny, they spread out everywhere, Vincent.
Let's talk about some of the things that we've been told.
All right, before you get there, though, let's add to your car scenario for a second. Trucks have the same thing. There's modern technology on diesels now where they got that big smokestack thing on the top, and now you see that nothing comes out during the day. Well, I've got trucker friends that tell me that's bogus. What really happens is at night it releases all the toxins that are gathered during the day.
Let's talk about something I learned back at the university in the 70s. We were led to believe that if you plug something into your wall outlet, there's no pollution there. So, for example, if you're heating your home with an oil burner and you literally have a fuel tank of, 550 gallons that you would consume during the winter, or even maybe two 550-gallon fuel tanks worth of fuel to heat your home in the northeast of the United States in the winter. Okay, so you know that there's soot and there's pollution and you're burning oxygen. We know all that. Well, we were told that, electricity is the future. So instead of having that oil burner or that natural gas burner or some other kind of heating system, you could have an all-electric house. And you just turn this thermostat and there's no smoke, there's no pollution in your home. And that's sort of correct. However, the energy losses of, first of all, the generation of the electricity at the power plants, then the transmission lines and the substations and all the losses and the friction in the wire and so forth, we get about, if I remember correctly, about 47% of that energy.
Not to mention the central control, Vincent.
Right. So that, that's one other thing that we've been told. But since we're talking about cars, about, believe it or not, I'm going to put this on the website. I found something that I agree with. A very small percentage of the energy that you put in your fuel tank in your vehicle that you operate on the roads actually moves the vehicle. Okay. So for example, in the engine, there are about 62% of the energy is lost in the engine. And that's the huffing and puffing of the internal combustion engine, the engine friction and so forth, and the heat. So 62% of that energy is wasted right there at the engine. Then when you idle the engine, when you come to a traffic light or a stop, 17% more. The accessories like air conditioning, power steering, those kinds of things, radio, lights, about 2%. And then the driveline, getting the energy from the engine through the transmission to the rear axle and the wheels, another 5%. Then you have the aerodynamic drag of a couple percent. Then you have rolling resistance from the tires and the bearings and so forth. That's about another 4%. And then you decide to slow down and you lose another 5%.
Says or does something silly once in a while, but once that embarrassing thing is on the internet, it can spread like a terrible rash. Put it to rest. Get a free expert analysis today from Reputation.com. It only takes 30 seconds. 800-831-0771. We protect your online image by helping to make sure that when people search for you or your business, they find the most current, accurate information possible. Reputation.com, because word travels fast. Call for a free analysis today. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Ted Anderson, placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Extend your life with
Why do over 50% of North Americans suffer from some form of chronic ailment? Could it be due to a toxic overload? It's time to take back your life. Get the lead out as well as the cadmium, mercury, and calcium. Extendivite is a garlic cayenne supplement with 5 other herbs that acts like a natural Drano, cleaning out the stored toxins, restoring your energy and youthfulness that we've lost. If you would like to live your life free of sickness, pain, or fear, then Extendivite is for you. Available in either capsules or liquid, you too can see why Extendivite is the #1 heart drop available. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Now, a twice as nice Twin Kit special offer from Complete H2O Minerals for all GCN listeners. Get a Complete H2O Minerals Twin Kit with 33 different minerals, vitamins, and amino acids all in a liquid form. Enough for 2 people for 1 month. Regular price $89.95, but now Complete H2O Minerals is offering the Twin Kit for $69.95. And all GCN listeners receive a bonus 16-ounce bottle of Ionic Silver absolutely free with free shipping. A $120 total value. Hurry, limited time offer. Call 803-794-4767 or click CompleteH2OMinerals.com.
That's the sound your brain makes when you realize you're buying something and forgot the coupon. Online or in a store, knowing that you're missing a deal is the worst. You need the app from Retail Me Not right now. Get thousands of coupons from 50,000 stores like Kohl's, Domino's, Best Buy, and more with crazy deals like 60% off, free shipping, and free gifts with purchase. You can get a text invite to download the Retail Me Not app 100% free right now for Apple or Android. Just text the code UPDATE to 42767. Then just show your phone at checkout to save. It literally couldn't be easier. It's 2015. Keep your coupons in your phone. Stop what you're doing and text UPDATE to 42767. Listeners will get a text with a link to download it 100% free. Never forget another coupon again. Text the code UPDATE to 42767 right now. That's UPDATE to 42767. Message and data rates may apply. For terms and privacy, visit retailmenot.com.
There are hundreds of silver products on the market today, but there's nothing like the astonishing health benefits of the multi-patented One Silver Solution. Boost your immune system at a great price with our Silver Solution Liquid, starting at $12.95 a bottle. Now available in regular and extra strength. That's half the price of the leading competitors. Call 844-USILVER for your free catalog, or go to onesilversolution.com. Onesilversolution.com. There is only one Silver Solution.
Quantitative easing, unemployment at depression levels, Europe financial system falling apart, China getting out of U.S. treasuries. At the end of 2008, the time of TARP, the national debt was at $11 trillion, gold trading around $850 per ounce. Close to 2012, the national debt exceeded $16.4 trillion, gold doubled to $1,600 per ounce. The $20 trillion threshold for the national debt is inevitable. Politicians in Washington have a ferocious appetite for spending and stimulus. What's worse, a printing press to finance. 100 years ago, we had a gold standard to limit this madness, but now you have to adopt your own gold standard. Don't be fooled with paper promises. Get Midas Resources 10 Reasons to Buy Gold free by calling 800-686-2237. Understanding the gold and silver market may be the only insurance you could have to avoiding the next economic crisis. Call 1-800-686-2237 and order your free copy. Again, that's 800-686-2237.
So class, if you're wondering what telephone conversations are like with me and Sam Bushman, this is what it's like. Seriously, this is exactly what it's like. It's nonstop. Two guys trying to get a word in edgewise, right, Sam?
It's only because you talk too much. What do you expect from two talk show hosts, right?
Sam, I want to thank you. Seriously. You carry on Liberty News Radio, USAprepares.com. I really appreciate you doing it. And some people would say, Liberty News Radio, Republic Broadcasting, GCN, they're all competing for listeners. And both you and John Statmiller's Republic Broadcasting carry this broadcast, and I really appreciate it. I really do. And
yeah,
so
but we
now
look
the question
at it
is
different than the world does, Vincent. I don't believe we've got a limited pie that we got to fight for and split up. In the free market of ideas, the founders believe that all we got to do is grow the pie. And believe it or not, by growing the pie in the free market of ideas and supply and demand and everything else, what we can do is we can actually be friendly competition. We can let each other make a living and do well and prosper. And when we work together as friendly competition, so to speak, we all profit. We all produce a better product. And so it's this different idea that, you know what? All we got to do is have a smaller piece of a bigger pie, and we really have more in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's kind of like if you lower taxes and the economy grows bigger. Overall, that smaller percent of taxes, even though you lowered taxes, turns out to be more money.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So Ronald Reagan tried to do, or at least talked about doing.
Well, there's just too much regulation in his way is the problem. But we digress. You were telling us that cars are a drag.
Yeah, cars are a drag, and we're looking at actually if you figure out how much energy is applied to actually moving that vehicle, and about 15%. That's about how much is used for moving the vehicle. Imagine. In
other words, 85% inefficient.
Correct, and the power grid is inefficient as well.
Of course it is.
It's a big problem. So what we really need to do, if you really think about this, what we need to do is use less, become more efficient and use less. And that's what we've done. By the way, we've done that here at the farm. For lighting, we have driven our lighting costs down dramatically. When we first fired up the farm, we were looking at about maybe $200 or $300 initially for operating the farm per month in electricity. We're at less than $100 typically now per month, and I'm looking at getting that down to closer to zero. My original goal was to bring it down to $60 per month, but they keep increasing the rates at which they're selling us electricity. So we're going to fix that. We're going to generate our own electricity. But in order to make that happen, we have to reduce the amount that we consume here at the farm. I don't like the word consumer, but You know, we use electricity to operate the farm, to run the business, to broadcast and so forth. So we're gonna generate our own. But the plan is to be frugal with electricity.
Now, we want to believe that electricity, when we plug something in, is clean and there's no toxins and that we're green and that we're taking care of the environment. What people don't really realize, though, is the old coal-fired power plants of yesteryear. They would bring coal and burn it, and it would be natural. They will claim that creates all kinds of toxin in the environment. I think, though, these supposedly better running plants where they boil everything down to this, what do they call it? Dross, if you will, or this stuff that they eventually put back into the earth and into the water, and they create these ponds to handle it all and everything else. Believe it or not, it's modified and way more toxic than the coal burning all by itself in the first place would be. And part of it has to do with the high concentrations. Part of it has to do with the different states of the chemicals involved and the merging of a lot of these chemicals. They want you to believe that it's cleaner, but it's not. It's kind of like this. Small farms across the earth do quite well, and they can fit into the environment and not upset the ecosystem, so to speak. When you take a huge corporate farm and you put a gazillion pigs or something all in a very concentrated location, the earth can't handle that kind of abuse or that kind of manipulation of the ground, the water, the soil, all this stuff. And so that's what we've done. And I'm submitting to you that we are creating a dissolving of our atmosphere. The sun is shining hotter. And eventually, 10, 15 years later, they're going to say the conspiracy theorists are nuts. Global warming is real. We have positive proof. And it'll get so hot going outside, you will not be able to deny it. But they have created it through their chemical manipulation of the environment, intentionally so, and we've all participated in making it happen unknowingly. Many of us aren't even willing to do it, but we almost have no choice given the scenarios. You got a lady, I can't remember where she was, in the Northeast, in Carolina or somewhere, where she tried to live in a tent on her own property, and they arrested her. You can't even do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've
Florida.
got these scenarios where we're being forced to create our own global warming reality and demise, and we're all looking at the wrong person or group or circumstances to blame.
There was a woman in Florida who decided that she was not going to use the municipal water supply in her neighborhood home. And because she was connected but didn't use it, the municipality came down on her, and I believe they evicted her from her home because they said, you know what, you have connected your home to the sewer system. So we base how much we charge for the sewer based on how much water you use, and you're not using water, but you could be putting stuff down the drain, and we have a problem with that because you're not paying for what you might be putting down the drain. And so they took her home. That's the kind of stuff that's going on. Now, what we've done, Sam, is distance ourselves from that here at the farm. We have our own water supply. We have a well, and we have our own septic system. So that's one more thing that the system can't charge us for. The next thing we want to do is...
They can't right now, though. Pretty soon, though, they're going to say, you need carbon credits for your abuse of the air. You're tapping into the water supply, and they'll find a way through the waterways, laws, and this and that, to manipulate even that scenario. And
Sam, you're right.
To where they're going to regulate us all and ratchet us all down from a central control mechanism. That's the other thing that I find interesting about all this is, we could go to a lot of these solutions, but every one of them, they want their central control. Even if you try to get off the grid, for example, what they'll come back and do is they'll say, well, we need to tax you because the municipalities aren't getting enough from the energy from you anymore, Vincent. So we got to kind of tax you to make up for that. You'll break the whole system.
Here, let me share with you an exclamation point. So I know of a veterinarian's clinic, within we'll say 50 miles of our farm. And in Missouri, when I was building this house, farmhouse, I called the state and I said, okay, so what do you recommend as the options for a waste disposal system? Septic tanks, what do you recommend? And they said, well, there are a couple different kinds of septic systems. You have a tank for the solids, and then the liquids you can put into the ground, and you can have a lateral system with gravel and lateral pipes, or you can have this new improved system. It's a lot more expensive, and it's brand new, and we don't know that much about it. Or you can have a lagoon. And what that is just kind of like a pond. You scoop out some ground, and you make a depression in the ground, and then you just run the what you flush down the toilet into this scooped out area. Whatever comes out of your kitchen sink, your dishwasher, all that just goes into this pond. And you fence it off so animals don't go in there, and you have it in an area where the sun can disinfect it. And it does not smell. The liquid evaporates into the air, and it works great. And I said, okay, so what system do you prefer? They said, well, the lagoon. We like that the best. Now, so the state of Missouri says, their engineers say, we like the lagoons the best. Okay. So fast forward 10 years to this veterinarian's clinic within 50 miles of the farm. So the municipality says, hey, you guys have a lagoon, and you wash down horses and cows, and you have some cow poop, and you wash out the area where you work on the cows and pregnancy check them, and you have this lagoon, and you flush your toilets for the owners of the patients that the animals, the small animals, the cats and dogs, and that's a problem. We need you to connect to the city water system, and we need you to connect to the city sewer system, because we can't have you using this lagoon.
You just can't be a rogue renegade here without all our processes in place to toxify the environment.
Right. So they threatened
to do that.
They threatened this veterinarian's clinic with like $1,000 a day fine. Now, unfortunately, I didn't know about this in time, because I would have said, no problem. We can help you. We will expose these guys. We'll give out their names, their numbers. We'll make them famous. These government minions, these government mercenaries. We will make them famous, and they will back down. But I didn't hear about it at the time. So now this veterinarian's clinic is spending an enormous amount of money to connect. I would have done one of two things. I would have said, tell you what, I'm not doing it, and we're going to make you famous. Or I'll tell you what, we're moving out of town. We don't want anything to do with you thugs. So now you not only are losing the clinic, and we're going to make it well known why we're moving out of town. So you'll lose the revenue, the taxes, and you'll lose the benefit of having us here. I would have done one of those two things. But you're right. You're right. We are being regulated out of existence.
And the problem, I'm convinced, is we are all playing this blame game. We're running around saying, hey, man, they got planes, the military involved in doing all this. And they're laughing at us going, we don't have to do that. Why don't you get in your big old pick-em-up truck and drive down the road with these new fancy tires that we got that spew chemical toxin into the air every mile you drive? And then when we take the tires off your car, we go ahead and put that in the landfill and create more chemical problems. And y'all are creating global warming. We don't have to do it at all.
Sam, I mentioned that on the air, that I was concerned about the radioactive contamination that might be coming from Fukushima in the tires that we have. We'll be right back. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy, or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
You are an individual with your own thoughts, decisions, and actions. So why should you be penalized for not enrolling in the subpar health insurance mandated by the government? Be truly independent. Visit libertyoncall.org. LibertyOnCall.org is a bold, innovative alternative allowing you to take back control and make your own decisions about your healthcare. Mention this ad when you call to learn more. 800-714-6993. That's 800-714-6993. LibertyOnCall.org. Call today.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state in back taxes, you know they'll never stop coming after you. With bank levies, wage garnishments, they'll even seize your home or business. The good news? A government program for tax debt forgiveness. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative.
I'm Paul Sibley with U.S. Tax Shield. We can help navigate the new laws, get you protected, and resolve your tax issues permanently.
Call the experts at U.S. Tax Shield now for your free consultation and get a guaranteed quote to resolve your case. Call 800-436-6451. That's 800-436-6451.
That's the sound your brain makes when you realize you're buying something and forgot the coupon. Online or in a store, knowing that you're missing a deal is the worst. You need the app from Retail Me Not right now. Get thousands of coupons from 50,000 stores like Kohl's, Domino's, Best Buy, and more with crazy deals like 60% off, free shipping, and free gifts with purchase. You can get a text invite to download the Retail Me Not app 100% free right now for Apple or Android. Just text the code UPDATE to 42767. Then just show your phone at checkout to save. It literally couldn't be easier. It's 2015. Keep your coupons in your phone. Stop what you're doing and text UPDATE to 42767. Listeners will get a text with a link to download it 100% free. Never forget another coupon again. Text the code UPDATE to 42767 right now. That's UPDATE to 42767. Message and data rates may apply. For terms and privacy, visit retailmenot.com.
Okay, open your mouth and say ah. Getting a good view of a sore throat can be difficult, but the new doctor-recommended sore throat exam kit from sayahnow.com makes it easy. A first-of-its-kind scientifically designed oral retractor to relax the tongue, minimize gag reflex, and increase visibility. Our made-in-the-USA kit also includes a medical-grade reference chart, easy-to-use website and app so that you're one click away from unparalleled sore throat information. Click sayahhnow.com. Sayahnow.com, a must-have for your family's medical preparedness.
Mike Stenerson from Midas Resources. At no time in history have precious metals been more important, certainly not in my 22 years in the industry. The dollar has lost over 90% of its value in the last 60 years. No fiat currency has ever survived the government printing presses. Ours is not immune. The time is now to be proactive. 1-800-686-2237, extension 116. Anything tied to the dollar is at risk. CDs, annuities, 401ks, IRAs, stocks, bonds, you name it, so decide. Do you want to leave a legacy of wealth or debt for your family? The choice is yours. Call me at 1-800-686-2237, extension 116. That's 1-800-686-2237, extension 116. Be proactive, not reactive. Call 1-800-686-2237, extension 116.
Virtually anyone can hack your cell phone and track your calls, your texts, your emails, your every movement, but only if they can detect a signal. Stay one step ahead of hackers and Big Brother with a Block-It Pocket, a custom-made pocket infused with pure silver that creates a complete Faraday enclosure for your cell phone. For free shipping to the lower 48, visit blockitpocket.com or call 888-315-9618. blockitpocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Class, Sam Bushman's with us. And Sam, I'm posting on the website, usaprepares.com, residential sewage lagoon systems, a homeowner's guide to installation and maintenance, for those of you who want to know a little bit more about them. But they've been used for years and years and years. And, you know, if you maintain them, I think it's a great idea. The sun is a great disinfectant. And, you know, what's better than having a perfectly natural system? And Sam, you were absolutely right. These factory farms,
when it comes to a natural system, I agree. When it comes to these man-made, manipulated, intentionally created chemical compounds that screw up the environment and force global warming upon the rest of us by our own participation, that's a different discussion. Now, what's fascinating to me is this. The mainstream can literally, and government can literally double down. When you say global warming isn't real, they can really say this publicly. Yes, it is. Scientists say so. Behind the scenes, they're saying, we've got the evidence that we made global warming happen. Of course it's real, you fool. One day you'll be forced to admit it. Imagine that kind of a thought process.
Yeah. And, Sam, the thing that really concerns me is that we are surrounded 360 degrees by threats. We are surrounded by regulations. We're surrounded by people showing up, telling us what we have to do and what we must do at the muzzle of a gun. It's getting more serious by the second. I don't like it. And that's what we're here to expose. What's happening and what to do about it.
Now, how many people do you think have thought about this and come to the conclusion that I have, that it's intentionally created? They're doing it in plain sight, meaning you and I, everybody else are all participating in making it happen. How many people have thought through that? I'm convinced it's the case.
Yeah, well, obviously not many are thinking that way, but I believe that a lot of what you're saying is absolutely correct, that we are unknowing participants in the destruction of our environment. And, I think that part of the problem is the lack of education in the public training camps. I think that we are lacking in training in science, practical science, practical math, history. I think we have fallen down in training our young people about the basics so they can carry out, their lives to the best that they can and to the general benefit of everyone else. And
when I study these things, Vincent, I kind of think this. Whenever something doesn't make any sense, you go, if they're doing this, but we don't have solid evidence, how does that make sense? Well, it doesn't. If this or that, and whenever you find a big gaping hole in something that makes sense, you got to say, I got to change the whole narrative. Because if I have the right narrative, it will make sense. And think about the narrative that I've just given you. What piece of it doesn't make sense?
Sam, what do you suggest that we do?
Well, the more natural we can live, the better. The more out of the cities we can get, the better. The more we can realize that it's happening, the better. You can simplify your life. It's one of the biggest keys.
Did you say get out of the cities?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Now, it's a relative statement because economically it's hard to just get way out in the country. Some people can't survive financially. So there's a balance that you've got to do. But you can try to get out of the cities. You can try to live simpler. You can try to put your clothes that you want to dry on a clothesline, not in a dryer. There's ways to simplify your energy needs. There's ways to simplify your life. There's ways to get back to the natural where you have natural health and healing. There's ways to do these things, and it's just about learning and about one step at a time. You can't eat the whole enchilada in a bite, but you can eat it fork by fork, right? So a little bit at a time is the answer.
Well, Sam, I can tell you that we do have a clothes dryer. We brought it from Virginia with us, and it has never been hooked up. And what we do have is clotheslines that we use and have used for 10 years now. As a matter of fact, we even have a couple of them hanging between, in the door jambs so that, we can take a plastic hanger, wash some blue jeans or a bunch of them all in one load and hang them up inside the house in the winter. We can hang them outside in the summer, and it works great. And so how much are we saving? Well, that'd be $1 or $2 a day in electric costs by not using the electric clothes dryer. Sam Bushman, I really appreciate you being with us for this broadcast class, exposing your theory to the light of day. I think you've got a lot of very, very valid points. And I hope that we all start thinking, as you do, outside the box, like what is really happening.
You're catching flack when you're right on target.
Absolutely. Class, above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is up to you. Thanks a lot. By now, you know that USAPrepares.com is your source for water filtration systems. Here at the farm, we use our water filtration system for drinking, cooking, and for our cats and dogs. Which brand are we using? Well, that would be the ProPure system because it filters out pathogens, microbes, chlorine, and fluoride. Multiple sources indicate that fluoride is responsible for lowering our IQs by 5%. Now, how many of you would like to sign up for a lower IQ? USAPrepares.com offers ProPure water filtration systems and accessories at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate. We buy them by the pallet loads and pass the savings on to you. And if you're outside of Missouri, there's no sales tax. And if this appeals to you, visit USAPrepares.com. That's USAPREPARES.com. You can order online, and we have the ProPure water filtration systems in stock, ready to ship. USAPrepares.com. ProPure water filtration systems at the same price as everyone else, except we offer an instant rebate.
Sciatica, lower back pain, hip pain, poor posture. If you suffer from any of these problems, get ready to relax. Introducing an amazing product that's been in the market for over 25 years, the Sacro Wedgie. It was invented by a football coach using a common sense osteopath technique. He created this device to help his athletes by isolating and supporting the sacrum, which is the keystone of our anatomy. This wedge-shaped bone is in the center of our hips, where a lot of pain starts. Simply relax 20 minutes daily on the amazingly simple Sacro Wedgie and let gravity do the work, helping muscles rebalance and start releasing nerves. Sit in the Sacro Wedgie at the computer or while traveling to help correct posture to finally help relieve those stubborn aches and pains for only $33.95. It's made in the USA, so click the family-owned website at sacrowedgie.com, spelled SACROWEDGY.com, or call 1-800-737-9295. That's 1-800-737-9295. Relax your back pain away with the Sacro Wedgie.